everybody, and welcome to the United Stand build-up show, and Merry Christmas and Happy Boxing Day. I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. Unfortunately, you do have to now watch Manchester United, which is a bit gutting. But I'm joking. Hopefully we can get some sort of result today, but I don't think anyone's feeling that positive. We do host Aston Villa at Old Trafford, and joining me from the studio, we have Faz and Ricky. First of all, Faz, Ricky, hope you had a very Merry Christmas. We talked off camera, it sounds like you did. But let's get to it surrounding Manchester United. I mean, Faz, you've been very kind of outspoken about this manager you feel like needs to leave.
Yes.
But what does he have to do today to win this game?
What he had to do, he hasn't done all season. So my straw with him is done. My patience with him is done. And whether he wins today by 3-0 or whatever, the season's already a write-off for Manchester United. So it doesn't change for us unless he goes on a crazy run of games where he takes us into, I don't know, top 3, which is borderline impossible at this point for him. Yeah, I don't have any faith. I don't have any confidence.
Where's your head at, Ricky? I mean, I'm sure there's been a lot of footballing debates over Christmas. My family was having them themselves. I saw this thing on Twitter that was like being a Man United and Chelsea fan over the festive period with family members taking digs at you left, right and centre, and that was certainly happening to me. But where are you at on the situation with Manchester United right now, Ten Hag and the team in general? Because you were... I watched the forum even though I wasn't here. You were actually quite positive after the West Ham result, despite the loss.
I think for a couple of games now, we've looked a little bit more solid. I mean, there were two really difficult fixtures, Liverpool away and West Ham away. Make no mistake, West Ham's away is a difficult fixture for anyone. And I just felt, certainly at Liverpool, obviously, and I've read these stats, did Liverpool have 34 shots or something?
Correct.
One or two people have said to me we were just lucky. No, we weren't. We kept them at arm's length, and they were taking shots from... They ended up taking shots from silly distances and silly positions. They didn't really create any really good clear-cut chances, maybe a couple at the most, but we had a couple ourselves. So it was a really solid performance and a really decent performance at Anfield, and I felt we followed it up in similar fashion at West Ham, and it just so happened that one of their chances... I can't remember if they'd had another decent chance. At the most, they probably had one other decent chance before they scored. And I'm not saying that we just battened down the hatches at West Ham like we did at Anfield, but we were always either A, at least the equal to West Ham, and B, for quite some periods of the game, we were the better team. And it's just, you know, goals change games, and they scored after, I think the manager said more or less the same as this, and I agree with him. You know,
but the manager also said, okay, sorry, but the manager's also said that we had a good performance against West Ham, which was clearly not the case.
No, that was.
I'm not saying it's
garbage.
a good performance, but it's a tough. Like this is what I'm trying to explain. It's a tough place to go, and at that 72nd minute when they scored, we were in the ascendancy. I felt we were doing all right. I really did feel as though we were doing all right, and then it just went completely to pot. Completely, it just fell apart when they scored. But they scored against the run of play. But that's football.
Interesting stuff. I'm going to be honest, I watched that game obviously from home, wasn't the fans forum, and I was really disappointed. I thought we looked like we had absolutely zero threat going forward. We had one chance that Garnacho should have scored, yeah, but apart from that, like, the thing is with Man United, we'll have one chance and everyone will be like, oh, he had to score that chance and we didn't score that chance, and people go in on it. And okay, yeah, Garnacho did have to score. But other teams, they're creating chance after chance after chance. We have like one clear-cut chance a game, and it's just not enough. We look like we could have played another hour or 2 hours and we still wouldn't have scored. That's our issue. We've not scored a goal in 4 games. Like, that is worrying. And I know you'll say the opposition are tough, and yeah, they have been tough games. But when Man United, where are the standards? We should have scored a goal in the last 4 games at least.
Yep.
And I mean, that's asking for the bare minimum. So for me, I was really frustrated watching the game. I thought it was boring, as a lot of our games have been recently. And I thought we just looked like we have absolutely no bite going forward. And there's no attacking threat. There's no exciting football. And okay, yeah, West Ham's a tough place to go, but I expected to see more, to be honest with you, from the team. And every single week, I just feel like I'm saying the same thing. Can I ask you this,
Beth? Why did you expect to see us better? When I say we played well, I'm just talking about us being solid, being competitive and staying in the game. But I'm not expecting our players to create loads of chances because they're not good enough to create loads of chances.
The reason why I'm expecting it, and I probably shouldn't, to be honest with you, the reason why I expect it is because I have for some reason, it keeps dwindling every single week. I have some sort of hope that maybe we're going to turn a corner and Ten Hag's going to do things differently, because despite the fact I've said I don't want the manager to be sacked, and I've said that, and despite the fact I do think a lot of them players are not good enough, nowhere near good enough, and they've been overhyped and they're not good enough to play at this level. I think a lot of them aren't. But I think there's definitely a team good enough there if it was well coached to create more chances than what we're creating and to do more than what we're doing. Like, I've seen these players play better than what they are doing before. The system is it's for me not going to work, and I don't think it ever will. This midfield of playing, I don't care who it is. McTominay will get scapegoated a lot, and you know, I've said what I've said about McTominay. I don't care who it is, but you could be playing Bruno and Mount there, it'd be the same thing. Playing one holder and then two midfielders way higher up the pitch, moving Bruno further behind the McTominay to play McTominay as like a second striker. It's just not working, and it won't. Yeah, okay, McTominay might score a goal now and again, but when was the last time he scored? It's not worth it, really. And for me, that midfield there's so many other issues, but that midfield's the main problem that I think is hurting us massively in transition, and I think it's killing us. I really do.
But for me, it's not just the midfield. It's overall Manchester United haven't been able to make opportunities for themselves to get into scenarios where they can create chances. They're not even playing good football, let alone create chances. You have to play a decent amount of football for you to be able to get in positions to, you know, get a shot, get a pass or whatever. We don't even do that. I see Chelsea, for example, the last game they played, I think it was Wolves, right? And yeah, they lost the game. But even then, they were looking like they created so many chances and they just lacked a little bit of, you know, final finishing. You had a bit of selfishness from Raheem. But other than that, they were still, you know, looking like a threat. We just don't look like that at all. Early on in the season, we're 20 minutes FC. And after 20 minutes, we just cave in. And considering our home form as well, people may think we have a bit of advantage because we're playing at home, but I don't think that one bit. We've lost 5 games in the last 10 games at home in all competition. There's no confidence that we have, and Villa will probably be coming here. Not probably, actually, they will be coming here because in the last 10 games away from home, they're unbeaten.
It'll be tough.
Very tough.
Unai Emery's doing a fantastic job, and obviously today we're against Villa and I want to beat them, but the team in the league I probably most enjoy watching, to be honest, after United, which United hasn't been enjoyable recently. But I really do enjoy watching them under Emery. I think they're playing great as a team. Obviously they've got some standout individuals, you know, who are highly, highly rated, who I would love to have. Douglas Luiz, I think he's brilliant. So yeah, they're a good side. They're a very good side. And I can't see anything. The way we've been playing, I can't see anything but a Villa win today. Especially if he puts out the same team as he's been putting out the last few weeks. But hopefully he changed it. I keep hoping he's going to change it. I mean, Ricky, we were talking before. I would so much rather, you know how much I love Bruno and I think he should be in the team, but I would so much rather have a midfield that is actually structured like the Liverpool midfield where... And it's not about personnel.
Oh, wait,
no, it's not
what do you mean by that?
It's not about personnel. Personally, I would play Amrabat, Mainu and Bruno. But I would play, you know, Amrabat and Mainu as a pivot and then Bruno a bit further forward. But I would rather play a midfield 3 of, you know, Mainu, Amrabat and... Eriksen, not then Bruno, or Mainu, Amrabat and even McTominay, as long as it had the structure there. It's not Bruno's fault because it's the way Ten Hag plays, but I don't know why he's playing this one holder on his own, Mainu or Amrabat, whoever it is, and then playing McTominay and Bruno so high up the pitch to the point where it just leaves massive holes. Doesn't matter who it is, it's the structure of the midfield. We're in,
what is it, game week 18 now, aren't we? Something like that. So we've been banging on about different options and things that he can do, but he doesn't do it. And Ricky's been going on about swapping wingers and he doesn't do it.
But what I don't get is he changed it for Liverpool and then reverts back straight. I don't get it.
Yeah, it went well against Liverpool, and then he just goes straight back.
Yeah, but he did it against Liverpool because he had no choice. He was forced to not put Bruno Fernandes on the pitch.
But it's not even about Bruno. You can play that midfield structure with Bruno in it. You can play Bruno as a 10 and you can play a double pivot. We did it under Ollie. We played McFred and Bruno, didn't we? We did it then. You can play it. And I think personally, you know, having obviously Mainu and Amrabat or you know, the Buddha pivot you had, I think that's an upgrade on McFred. Personally.
You put anybody in a midfield alone, in a defensive midfield position alone, especially the Manchester United team right now, they're going to get, you know, found out in terms of making mistakes. And Kobe Mino was one of them. He ended up making a mistake in the last game, and it's a shame for the lad, really.
But he was still, for me, our best player.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Even though he made a mistake, and that's what people don't get. You can make mistakes and still have a great performance, or good performance, but that's bound to happen when you're on your own constantly in there. But Ricky and Faz, actually, you'll enjoy getting onto this conversation. We spoke a little bit earlier when we were watching the Forest game, and a lot of people getting onto our wingers for not creating enough. I mean, I don't know if anybody's seen the stat of how many passes Garnacho and Anthony have put into Haaland over the past 4 or 5 games, but it's something silly like it's something silly like it's like 0.7 passes a game from both of them.
Right.
Like it's something crazy like that. It's the actual stat. I'll try and find it, and I should have it to hand actually, but it's basically barely ever passing it in. I mean, you were watching Elanga today and everyone's talking about Elanga and whatever. I still believe, you know, Elanga isn't quite at United level, and I think he's doing great. But that's not me saying I think the players we have now aren't playing at United level either. Like you were saying before, you know, you can't tell me he'd be worse off without him in the team. But one thing people are saying, like, you know, we bought Anthony for nearly 86 million. Elanga, we sold him and he's doing quite well at Forest. He's crossing it and he's got decent numbers so far this season, better than our forward. So have your little say on that, Ricky, because I know you want to talk about it.
Well, I had a little thing where I think it went mad on social media, didn't it? When I had a little pop at Double A because he said when we were sat here talking about, well, I mentioned Elanga after the game, and Double A said, no, he's had his chance, and I flipped my lid because I've heard that so many times. He didn't have his chance. Having your chance is getting played week in, week out, for a good while, like Anthony has. And he's not showed that he can do it like this season Rashford has. And he's been poor nearly all the time. Elanga got maybe 2 or 3 starts and then 2 or 3 games out, then a start, then out. He never got a proper chance. And I saw him, they've just sacked the Forest manager. That's not down to Elanga, by the way. They just sacked the previous Forest manager. And I saw Elanga put a tweet out there and I loved it. He said, thanks for showing faith in me, boss. And he still called him boss, you know what I mean? And that's what he needed, a good run of games. And he's playing now like he could have been playing for us, as I believe that's why I liked him. I mean, that stuff about the shirt being too heavy for him, he just didn't play enough. And let's flip that on its head, by the way. It's all right saying, oh, he's doing it for Forest, but he couldn't have done it for United. But at least he's doing it for Forest. Let me ask you two this question. Could Anthony or Garnacho, if they went to Forest, would they suddenly start tearing the fullbacks apart and putting good crosses in the box? Because I don't think they would. No. You know what I mean? I don't think they would.
Yeah, and I obviously put a couple of tweets out today giving Anthony Elanga all the prop. And the whole timeline, my mentions went to disarray today. I think one of the tweets got like 100,000 interactions and people are going crazy. But my thing is, people keep saying a player is in United level. We bring in players who are supposedly United level and they end up becoming bottom of the table.
What does this mean?
What is our level? I don't understand.
We play terrible football. And there's hardly a player in the Premier League who couldn't play for us and not make much difference.
And to
add
to that point,
not make us worse, I mean. There's hardly a player in the Premier League.
I'll explain what I think people think of it. People, and I admit, I think the way we play at the moment is nowhere near United level. I think people see United level as, you know, being able to compete.
Beckham, Keane, Scholes and Giggs.
Yeah, not, you know, obviously that was brilliant Man United play when we had them in the team, but I think people see United level as being able to compete with the top teams at the top of the table and in Europe, because that's where we feel like we should be.
Sure.
But we haven't been like that for so long, so people keep wanting us to just immediately be United level. Me, myself included, I want us to be United level, but we've not been that in ages. And when I say I still don't think Elanga's United level, that doesn't mean I think the team we have now is, because I don't. Do you know what I mean? I don't think any of them are really, apart from like, I think Luke Shaw probably is, and I think Bruno Fernandes is, and maybe like Lisandro Martinez as well. They're like the only players that can really pick out. That Mainu, I think, will be, and you know, players like that. But when you look at it with Elanga, if he would have stayed at United, I don't think he would have had the season he's having now here because of how poor we play.
Hold on. Can I say something, right? Look, a player, unless he's a massive big name signing, who's played in big clubs and has huge achievements like the Casemiro, the Varane, you can say they're Manchester United level. They're pre-established players. You're bringing in a player, from the academy like Anthony Elanga, and you have to coach them. If we had bought Moises Caicedo when he was linked with Manchester United for 5 million, there's nothing to say he would become a £100 million player, because we bring in players and players go downhill, not uphill. Even Lisandro Martinez, nobody can say, okay, he's lived up to his valuation or increased it. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's increased his valuation. Nobody can sit here and say that. Anthony Elanga, if he stayed in Manchester United, what the coach was supposed to do is coach them, make them better, bring them to United level. And if they're not, then you filter them out. Players who don't get a chance and they go somewhere else and prove themselves, it's not to say that they're on that level. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Forest scored 2 goals against us like it was nothing, and we had to try and, bring it back whilst we were at home. If the manager is getting something out of the player, that's kudos to the manager. It's like what Ancelotti is doing with Bellingham. Bellingham went to Real Madrid from Dortmund whilst he played a different position in Borussia Dortmund. He's gone to Real Madrid and he's become this generational crazy player. And yes, he was a fantastic player, a world-class player before he went to Real Madrid. But it's Carlo Ancelotti what is getting more out of him.
But the one thing I would say on that, and by the way, I just want to say I do think Varane is United level as well. I missed him out before the chat went off with me. I think Varane is definitely, I do like Varane. But what I wanted to say is it don't matter who the manager is, anyone who comes to United, they don't get better, they get worse. The only player that I think got better when they arrived, but now has dipped again, was probably Bruno when we signed him, which you probably won't agree with, but obviously he did really well. But anybody else who we sign, they never get better. It don't matter who the manager is. It's happened under Ollie, it's happened under Mourinho. Like, we rarely ever sign anyone and they increase the value. Do it, ever. It never happens. Whereas, like you said, Jude Bellingham's gone to Real Madrid and he's become absolutely insane, probably the best player in the world right now. And Real Madrid do it all the time, and they're a big club. City will get players in, they improve, they go up another level. But it just never happens for Man United. Got some super chats in here. We've got Vignesh says, watch the best of 2023 video. You are all legends. Worried about the game today. I would take that entire Villa midfield. Yeah, me too, to be honest with you right now. Thank you, Vignesh, for the super chat. Shaheen says, sometimes we get too excited about players' form. I remember Jesse Lingard was great at West Ham, but hardly noticeable at United. Probably the same with Elanga. Interesting. Song Hyung Min says, why do Beth and Fazzy look super beautiful today? Hey, Son, you're forgetting Ricky. But thank you for the super chat. Broads Mon says, there is no chemistry, plain and simple. We have solid, skilled players, good enough or not. What worries me is they look like they've never played together. That's true. Marcus Stevenson, men for 20 to 22 months. Why does Benny McCarthy get praise? And then Dylan and Nate, welcome to the United Stand Members Club. Thank you very much for that on there. Just having a little look at what's up now. Thank you very much. Anyway, everybody, let's move on to the next point of call.
We've got a couple of players I think we can announce, can't we? That are starting.
Can we announce them now? Okay, yeah. Cool. So, do you want me to read them, Faz, or?
I've got them up. So, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves.
Is it exciting or interesting, or just obvious? Go on.
I don't know how to put it, mate. I'm a bit speechless. So, Marcus Rashford starts.
Right.
Alejandro Garnacho starts.
Right.
Højlund starts.
Right.
Scott McTominay is not wearing the captaincy armband today, and he is. And he's dropped. He's not starting.
Is he not starting?
Nope.
Right.
Why are you celebrating?
Sorry, I'm sorry, and I don't usually like to do that on a player. No disrespect to Scott. It's not him. It's the way. It's the way we play it in the midfield three with a more structured midfield. I'm sorry. And
no Martial starting as well.
Yeah.
We'll give you the full team news as soon as we can. So thank you all. Also, everybody who's watching, we've got nearly 8,000 people watching from all across the globe. Send in your super chat with your starting 11 that you would like to see Manchester United play. We will bring them up on screen, and Ricky will get the Godfather to rate them a little bit. So please make sure you're on your A game. Do not be sending in crazy Altay buying their starting or whatever. Send in your starting 11. But so yeah,
it looks like Rashford's going to start on the right, doesn't it?
I was just going to come. Rashford and Garnacho start. Right-footed right winger.
Yeah.
Garnacho's great with both feet. He's probably going to play on the left to accommodate that side. But does that... Højlund starts again instead of Martial. I'll be honest, I would have liked to see Anthony Martial start. I know he's not been injured. There's no injury concern. I would have liked him to start today. The ball would have probably stuck a bit more higher up on the pitch. But Ricky, your initial thoughts on that front three?
I think Rashford has shown a little bit of danger on the right. When he's played on the right, he put a great ball across when Højlund did score a goal, didn't he, at Old Trafford? Was it against Galatasaray? He will get the ball across a little bit better from the right, from the left, but rather than from the left. But I'm just not a big fan. I'm just not a big fan, and I don't think Garnacho's been playing too well. It's look, there's not much else we can do, but I don't know how far down the pecking order Palestri is, by the way. So it looks like he's dropped Anthony. You know, we're 90% sure, aren't we? It looks like he's dropped Anthony, and Rashford's going to play on the right. Give Palestri a run. Give Palestri a run, for God's sake.
Apparently, someone's just tweeted Shaw and Amrabat ruled out through minor issues.
Right.
Issues.
That's gutted, like injury issues, minor. Gutted about that.
Well, here comes our saviour, the one and actual player who saves Manchester United even when they don't have fullbacks. His name has 2 D's in it. And I don't mean double A, double D or whatever you're thinking. It's Diogo Dalot. He's probably going to play left back, isn't he?
So I'm assuming Eriksen's going to start then in the midfield.
It looks like it might be Kobe Mainoo and Eriksen, mightn't it?
Yeah. That's what I assume it's going to end up being. Which, I mean, you look at Villa's midfield, Ricky, and then you look at that United midfield. Do you think it can go toe-to-toe?
I think they'll probably have more of the ball than we will at Old Trafford, which isn't a common occurrence usually, is it? But I think they can do all right. Yeah, I think Kobe Mainoo and Eriksen, if it is those two, we've got to wait and see, haven't we? But if it's Kobe Mainoo and Eriksen, I think they can do all right.
I have a little bit more news for you all as well. You'll be very...
Got the full lineup.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
If you want me to read it out. We've got the full lineup, everyone. It is Onana in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Evans, Dalot. So Dalot is playing left back, which I'm glad to see. Mainoo, Eriksen and Fernandes in the midfield, and then a front three of Garnacho, Rashford and Højlund. So that is your Man United 11. I mean, Faz, immediately, how do you feel about that?
I like that Mainoo's in the squad, and I like that Eriksen is in the starting 11 as well. That's put me in some sort of peace in terms of the midfield. I do wonder who's going to play a little deeper. Is it going to be Mainoo or is it going to be Eriksen? I presume it's going to be Kobe Mainoo, but either way, the only thing is Eriksen's not had a run of games, has he? So I'm just a bit, on the back foot with that.
I think Mainoo and Eriksen will both play quite deep, and then Bruno will play further forward, which will give us more chance because, as you've been saying, McTominay and Bruno together doesn't work. For me, I would keep McTominay in. Obviously, you'll agree that it should be Bruno. But for me, I'd have left Bruno out and played McTominay.
So you would have played McTominay, Mainoo and Eriksen?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with the two. I agree with what you've been saying about the two holding midfield players or two players that don't go running off all over the show. And at the end of the day, look, we have had one decent result recently, and that was the game that Bruno didn't play in. So what have we got to be worried about?
I'm buzzing about the fact...
It's going to be another tough game.
I'm buzzing about the fact Varane's back, I can't lie. I thought Cambuala did really well against West Ham, considering, and he looks very good on the ball. But obviously having Varane back is just a massive, massive boost for us. Him and Evans seem to do decently together. Evans at West Ham, for me, didn't have a great game, but hopefully they can have a good game together as a partnership. Are you happy with that, Ricky?
Yeah, I'm pleased with that. Yeah, I thought Evans did all right at West Ham until the second goal. He could have done a bit better on the second goal, but overall I thought he played really well.
Do we have the bench?
I don't have it yet. It should be out soon, but obviously that'll just come out with everything at 7 o'clock when it officially comes out. Slow Spots News says, I'm optimistic about tonight. Ten Hag has done the right thing bringing in the academy players, but I don't feel it's the right time for them until we sort out this situation. Darren Mulaney says, I think we don't have the right manager to make the players better. Only manager that could do that is Zidane. You're trying to reel Faz in there. Thank you everyone for your super chats, really do appreciate them. I mean, you just spoke a little bit there about the front three. Do you think it was harsh to drop Anthony, or are you happy to see Rashford back in?
You know what? I'll be honest. I think Ricky was spot on with giving Facundo Pellistri some chance. I think the manager's going to end up overplaying Alejandro Garnacho, I'll be honest. He's given him a run of games to boost his confidence. He's had some fantastic performances in terms of, his goals, with the Puskás Award goal that he's going to get. So really good. But again, you need to manage these sorts of players, put him on the bench, now give a run of games to Facundo Pellistri, give him maybe 3 or 4 games and see what that lad can do. But you've decided not to do that and stick with Alejandro Garnacho, and we'll see what happens. He's not been pulling up trees, has he? Garnacho, let's be deadly honest. But we have to have patience, and we don't really have any other options. I'd like to see Amad Diallo back into the starting 11 at some point, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. But he's clearly taking a bit of risk by dropping Anthony. That's his favourite player in the squad, really.
Paid 86 mil for him.
Yep.
I mean,
sorry, Beth. What's concerning is it's just popped in. What's concerning is we've paid so much money to get him a player that he's not managed to figure out how to get the best out of him.
There are a lot of concerns in lots of different areas. The front three, Ricky, Garnacho hasn't been necessarily great the last few games, but neither's a lot of players, to be honest. But I'm glad he's keeping this run up because I see a lot of potential in him. And I do think sometimes, just chopping and changing, taking players in and out when they have a couple bad games can hinder a player. I think sometimes you've got to let them see it through, and especially the run we're on at the moment, I think you need a good run of games to see what they're really about, and hope that, I'm sure that's what Ten Hag's given him. Obviously a bit gutting for Anthony that he keeps popping in and out. I actually don't think he was too bad against West Ham. I just think he hinders us so much going forward because he never goes on his right foot. He's got so much pace and power, and he gets in a great area on the counter-attack, and then he cuts back to go on his left, and it kind of completely breaks down our attack a lot of the times. But are you happy to see at least Rashford's playing on the right with his right foot? Are you hoping to see him getting some crosses into Højlund today?
I'm hoping to see that. Again, as I've just said, I'm just not a massive fan of Marcus. I don't think he's particularly good at it, but at least he is right-footed, so there is a chance that he will get a couple of decent balls. I'm not expecting any more than 2, but if he gets a couple of decent balls across today, hopefully Højlund can get on the end of one of them, or even Garnacho coming in from the far side. You need your wingers. You need your wingers when the ball's on one wing. You need your winger on the other side to be coming in to make an extra body. Sometimes you get yourself a tap in at the far post. Maybe that could happen. Rashford could fire one across. Garnacho could end up with a tap in, and that's what they both need to be doing. When the ball's coming in from the other side, it doesn't come in often enough. But when it does, you need to be there.
Are you guys excited to see Eriksen starting again for us? I've missed him, to be honest.
Well pleased, me. Well played.
I don't know. I'm still a bit fearful because who's behind him is Kobe Mino, and you want someone a bit more energetic. I don't know if Casemiro's back into the matchday squad.
Not yet, I don't think.
Yeah, we don't have any other option. But if that's the case, right, he's dropping. What would make sense is to see Amrabat more because that's his player. We paid for Amrabat. We paid a lot of money to get him on loan. And he's again decided not to play his player. And instead Kobe Mino.
He's got minor issues.
Oh, he's
out.
Right, okay.
They're both out,
okay.
Yeah.
So, at this point, we've got no other one to pick, really, other than them two.
Do you think maybe Eriksen's being thrust in a bit too soon because he's got another option?
Yeah, I just hope Bruno can stick to his position because Eriksen's gonna need the help. In any given moment, if we're running back towards our goal when they're in transition, you're going to see Eriksen try and chase shadows, and he's not going to be able to keep up.
Faz, the thing is, we will have 2 players in position. We will have Kobe Mainu and we'll have Eriksen. At Anfield, we had Kobe Mainu and Amrabat. Amrabat doesn't look particularly fit or particularly quick to me. He just holds his position well. All right, he's a bit more solid and stronger in the tackle than Eriksen. But Eriksen's an intelligent player. His positional play will be good. At least we will have 2 midfield players like we had at Anfield. At West Ham, we really only had 1 because, like you've been saying, Bruno and McTominay both played in the same team. It's too attacking. It just doesn't work. And even though I felt we were on top at West Ham and we could have easily nicked it, like they nicked it in the end, I just feel as though you should play with 2 players that when you're under pressure, you've got 2 men there. And it doesn't matter what the strengths of those 2 players are. Amrabat's strength might be tackling. Eriksen's strength, his positional sense, maybe making a couple of interceptions. And every tiny little bit that you can do to help helps the team to stay in the game. So long as you've got 2 players playing there, I don't really care what the strengths of those 2 players are.
I think what makes me a little bit more confident with, I still think we're going to get beat, but what I think makes me a little bit more confident with Mainu and Ericsson and Bruno rather than Mainu, McTominay and Bruno is Ericsson usually when he plays does play quite deep.
Yeah, exactly.
So at least you've got a bit of structure. Okay, he's not great on the defensive transition. He can be a bit weak sometimes in the tackle, and he's not the quickest. They are all frailties that he can be exposed on the counter-attack. We've seen it before this season. But when you've got McTominay and Bruno, you've got that 2 here. At least with Ericsson, he's going to be in the right position. So it gives you a little bit more.
Exactly what I'm saying, love.
Which is
exactly what I'm saying.
So hopefully
2 players
it gives
who
us
will
a bit more
stay in
structure.
position, and
Yeah.
that will help us without any shadow of a doubt. And we'll need it against these. We needed it against West Ham, and we needed it against Liverpool. And for some reason, he changed it against West Ham.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, Faz, you spoke a little bit about Dalot being always available and ready to slot in wherever he's playing left back today. Are you happy you went with Dalot over Reguilon there?
I prefer Dalot over Reguilon. I think defensively, Dalot's still better than Reguilon. You know, he's done a great job against some good players, Dalot has, and he can cross the ball with left or right foot, and he's the only fullback that crosses. And you know, this is a message to all of you. If there's anything you can take from this game, you must take that we have the best double Ds in our team, which is Diogo Dalot. And well, yeah, he is. He's the best. He's the best. And people keep this thing about saying he's not a good player. He's not a Manchester United level. I don't know what level you think Manchester United are in, but yet again, he's never injured. He's always playing, and he's always giving you his all. He always looks like he's giving 110%. He uplifts his players. He might not be the best fullback in the world, but he's always there. And you love Bruno Fernandes for his energy, for his passion, his leadership, and Dalot does the same.
I'm going to get the bench up now, but I mean, I like Dalot and I think he's always available. And okay, yeah, he's had a few poor games, but I mean, everyone has. But I would much prefer him at left back to Reguilon. So
yeah,
I'm happy with that as well. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, definitely.
So hopefully he can have a good day and not get caught. Like with Dalot, I think he's got the talent. I just think he makes the wrong decisions a lot of time. But hopefully we can.
Do we have the Villa starting
see
lineup
that
as well?
improve. Gonna get it up right now. So the substitutes are Bayende, Reguilon, Kambwala, Gore, Hannibal, McTominay, Van der Beek, Pellistri and Anthony.
No Martial again.
Oh.
There's something going on there.
Yeah,
they said he was ill, but that was about 3 games ago.
He's going in Jan, I think.
We know he's going in January. Is Van der Beek on the bench?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He was on the bench the other day. He's going in January. So what you know what I mean? What's
I
the
just don't
difference?
think we've got much to make it up because of injuries
I
in
don't
a
want
minute.
to spread malicious rumours, but I don't think Anthony Martial's unwell.
No, neither.
I-
He can't be unwell for like 2 weeks, surely.
I don't think so. It's just a bit more than 2 weeks now, I'd say.
Yeah.
Because it's the 3rd game running.
Yeah, there's
and
something
we're playing
going
1 game a
on there.
week.
It's gutted.
Gutted, aren't you, Rick? But
Proper gutted.
Casemiro's still not back.
I mean, at least Van der Beek turns up to be on the bench.
And
I'm
then-
not going to lie. Like, I don't know what's gone on behind the scenes, but Ragnick said Martial didn't want to play at one point, didn't he? So,
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't like it when players refuse to. I know there might be something going on behind the scenes, but
I don't know.
you know,
On
at least
top-
turn up to be on the
But
bench.
look, I can only add from what I see. He might feel that the managers, used him all last season whenever he was available, and now the manager's got a shiny new toy. He's decided to turn his back on Anthony Martial.
I think the
Well, how
managers-
the hell can you think that when you are injured the most of last season? Of
I think
course,
the
he's going to get an injury.
because-
striker in. Of course,
sorry.
he's not going to trust
This
you.
is the same. No, this is the same player that cried about giving his shirt to Ibrahimovic, who's won 13, 14 titles. We know full well Anthony Martial, how much of a great player he can be. He's got this thing where people, the manager needs to be on a bit more personal touch with him. He spoke publicly about how good Van Gaal was with him because he sat down with him with an iPad and drew some lines or whatever it was. But now you have a manager who's gone, with the new striker, and maybe he's checked out a bit. I can see that happening.
Martial, there's no doubt he's a good player. Like I've always loved him. Got my Martial shirts at home. I always wanted it to turn out well. But the thing is, you cannot expect to be #1 striker if you've been injured a whole season. You just can't expect
He's not
it.
been injured a lot this season.
No, I mean
He's not been injured at all.
No, I mean last season.
okay,
no,
yeah.
I mean he was injured all last season. You can't expect going
He's
into
been
this
fit
season.
all this season, though.
I know,
This
but you-
season is what matters,
I
and
know,
he's been on the bench all the time.
What I'm saying is you can't
And
expect.
Højlund's not scoring goals.
Yeah, but what? No, but what I'm saying is you can't expect to come into the season as number one striker after you were injured all last season, of course the manager's going to go out and buy a player because he doesn't know if you're going to be fit. Like, you can't.
Yeah, but there's a pecking order.
Yeah, but you also need your team and your squad to be strong. So Martial, when Højlund's been struggling to score goals, was coming on as a sub for. He got 10 and 15 minutes sometimes, but sometimes it's literally 3 or 4 minutes, and he's been fit and sitting on the bench. I'd throw my rattle out the pram.
After you've been injured all of last season, you've got to
because he's there and fit this season. There's no point harping back to last season.
But I think you've got to. Yeah, but he's been quite injury prone for quite a while. I think you've got to prove yourself to get into the starting 11. And by the way,
Beth,
I think he should have had more minutes.
I'm not saying starting 11. Listen to what I'm saying. He's been coming. He's been here all season, fit, sitting on the bench most of the time, getting the odd start. But then when he does start, he gets dragged off after an hour. When he's on the bench, they put him on sometimes for 3 minutes, sometimes for 10 minutes. Just treat the players as an equal. Doesn't matter. I mean, Højlund didn't even play for us last season. Martial was injured all last season. It's like 2 new players this season, and Martial has been getting a raw deal. And Martial played at Newcastle when we were terrible. He played against Bournemouth when we was terrible, and now he's the man who's been launched out, like not even on the bench. But we've not been any better in all the other games that Højlund plays in.
He's not been launched out. He was ill.
Oh no, he was ill for 1 game. Don't tell me he's ill now.
He was ill for 2 games.
There's something going on, isn't there?
Yeah, but do you really think it's Ten Hag that's excluding him? I think Martial's. I don't think Martial wants to play. I think he's seen his.
I mean,
this isn't Sunday League, Beth. You don't just ring up and say, "Oh, I'm not." It's not Sunday League.
No, I'm not saying that.
The manager's dropped
it.
But
Rangnick said last time when Martial went to Sevilla in January, it was about Christmas time. He said Martial's not in the squad because he don't want to play today.
Yeah, but Ralph Rangnick.
Yeah, but
Ralph Rangnick. Sorry, Rick. Ralph Rangnick.
Why are you believing Rangnick?
I'm really
sorry. It's happened twice now.
No,
can I just say
when else has it happened?
We can go with Ralph Rangnick.
No, it hasn't, because he hasn't been said that he don't want to play, has it? It hasn't happened.
No, it's not been said. Now.
It hasn't happened then, has it? It happened once.
No, but I think it's weird that he's been ill for 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think if Ten Hag had him there, he'd obviously.
Yeah, but we all know Eric is not a good man manager. And if you're gonna go with what Ralph Rangnick said Elanga, other players should take example of Anthony Elanga, publicly.
Probably because he worked hard.
And look what happened. The manager shipped him out.
He probably worked hard. I'm just saying, I think it's a bit odd that he's been ill for 2.5 weeks, and you can't go into a season expecting to be number 1 striker when you left us in the mud last year. Not any fault of his own, but he was injured the whole season. Okay, yeah, Højlund's not been great in the Premier League, but I do think Martial should have had more minutes, but Martial's not exactly pulled up trees when he's played either. You can't just expect to be. No one can expect to be number 9 starter for United. No one.
I've not said he should be number 9 starter. He's not getting used enough, whether it's 20 minutes here instead of 3 minutes. And it's no better when Højlund plays. You're going to say it again in a minute. He can't expect to be starting striker. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. He's just not being used enough, whether it's 10 and 20 and 30 minutes.
Yeah, but he probably wants to play more. He probably wants
He probably does. He probably does want to play more. But he's not turning up because he doesn't want to turn up.
He wants to leave in January.
The manager, he will be leaving in January, but I'm telling you, the manager have bombed him. That's what's happened.
Oh, you don't know that.
The manager's bombed him.
You don't know that.
You don't know that it's not that.
Yeah, but you don't. Yeah, but you're saying it. It's facts.
You don't know,
but you don't know that. You don't know that.
It's not because he doesn't want to play. Martial went to Seville. Martial told Rangnick he wanted to leave because he wanted to play.
So Rangnick.
He wasn't getting played enough.
Guys.
Okay. Okay, but what
I'm sorry.
Do you know what? Whatever, like, you know, you can think what you think, I can think what I think.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the weird thing is, I actually do like Martial as a player.
That's
but
true.
I think it's not coincidental that for two times is when he's about to leave in January, he's suddenly not in the squad.
You know what?
Did
Also,
that happen last time?
Yeah, he left in January to go to Sevilla.
Yeah, no, but I don't think he wasn't in the squad for a month before it.
He wasn't in the squad for a few games, and Rangnick got asked why, and he said because he doesn't want to be in it. And Martial said he was lying.
I think you're wrong.
I'm not wrong.
I think
I'm
he
right.
missed 1 game.
Well,
One game.
it happened though, didn't it? It happened
He
still.
missed 1 game.
Anyway, guys, let's move on to the next part of COP. Let's move on to some super chats.
we love we all love each other, don't we?
The Beauty 10 says Faz is so annoying. Oh.
No, it's okay. Read it.
Faz is so annoying talking about his favourite players. Plus, Ricky likes long-lasting players. Hopefully this gets ready for the fans. I don't know what that means. Shine says Martial wasn't even trying against Newcastle. Leaf says Beth's spot on. Nick says Beth's right. Gray says Martial doesn't like having competition.
That's
Robert
a good
Lund
point.
said he's done it again. Why is he so obsessed with playing attacking midfielders? It doesn't work and keeps doing it. Fuming. Dan Bala says, Ricky, have you ever been to Chicago? Have you?
Yeah, plenty of times.
Lee says, hi guys, great show. I'm not confident with this team, especially going forward.
Ricky's been to more countries than Christopher Columbus has.
These players can't put their foot on the ball to save their lives. We need to get rid of Bruno, not a great 10, says Lee. Virtually Unknown says GGMU, and Cameron says Ricky loves a steady Eddie team, and Ronnie Dodge says Dave Brailsford at Game Players Prove Yourselves. David Brailsford's at the game. Mike B says, my guy Ricky is the UK Skip Bayless. Love it. But thank you everyone for your super chats.
There's one more right at the bottom.
Read it out.
Darren Mullaney says both Martial and Hoyland not scoring because they're not getting service from midfield.
I really want to ask Ricky another question about Martial, but we need to move on.
And who would you rather see win the title? Says
Let's have it.
58.
Somebody asked it.
No,
58,
I want to
58.
ask you. I want to ask you, do you think Martial would...
Sorry. The one super chat I was just reading. Who would you rather see win the title? Liverpool or Arsenal? Quick answer.
Arsenal, obviously.
Arsenal, yeah. Right.
But I want to quickly ask you, even if Martial was getting an extra 10 minutes here and there, do you really think he still wouldn't have a problem?
No, he wouldn't be happy, but...
The only time he's ever been happy at United is if he's number one.
I'm talking about the team being stronger and the squad being stronger. So now we're without a decent number 9. Rashford come on at number 9 the other day. He's pathetic.
But that's not because of Ten Hag's fault, though.
Well,
I think
that
Martial
might
wants
be
to be
because
number one or
Martial's
no
still
one.
on. We don't really know for sure, do we? But it strikes me that he's been bombed out of the squad. That's what it strikes me as.
To me, it comes across as he wants to be number one or nothing. That's how it comes across to me. In this situation.
And that's,
how do you see it, Faz?
Well, look, Jadon Sancho's had an issue with Eric Ten Hag because Anthony was getting played continuously, and when he could have been given a chance. And in pre-season, the manager used him, and he looked okay. But the manager decided to go and get his own player and thingy him. But even this season, the same thing. Players can listen, whether we like it or not. Players will feel like they are doing enough in training to at least get more opportunities than they are. Everybody's clearly competing. If anybody's going to make some noise, it should be players like Donny van de Beek. He can only rightfully say, I've not been given any chance. But with Martial, the only reason I can not back him, but the only thing I can say is he's clearly seeing that Rasmus is not scoring. Maybe he, as a player, thinks I can do a little bit better. Martial might not score, but I might help the team score. I might help the team attack a bit more, and I should be given a bit more chance. I've been fit all season. What's happened last season has happened. I've proved myself this season by staying fit, not getting injured in training. So that's one thing proven. I've been in match day squads all season. That's one thing proven. And now the illness, look, it is unfortunate, but surely the manager has to bring him back in when he can, because, again, it's his number one players. His number one player, Anthony, hasn't worked out, and his number one player, Rasmus Højlund, hasn't worked out yet in the Premier League.
At the end of the day, if we end up in a position where we need a goal, whether it's 0-0 or we're 1-0 down, with half an hour to go today, if Martial starts, it's Højlund who comes on for Martial. If Højlund starts, although Martial, they tend to wait a little bit longer. They bring him on. We need that chance to bring a striker on who's at least half decent. We haven't got another half decent striker unless it's Joe Hugill, who I do like from what I've seen of him, but I don't think he's on the bench either, is he?
No, that's the only issue. We have no one to come really for Højlund, and it would be Rashford moved to number 9, which doesn't work. But in my opinion, I don't think that's Ten Hag's fault. To be honest with you.
But he's not coaching the team.
I think the reason Martial gets subbed as well is because he's worried about him getting injured.
So if all season, the midfield, the fullbacks, the wingers, all of these, the 9 other players on the pitch, haven't been able to pass to Rasmus Højlund, whose fault is it?
Oh, okay. That's obviously the coaching.
Thank you very much.
Of course it is.
There you go.
And the setup. There's no doubt about that. I mean, at least Van der Beek, you can't doubt his professionalism.
100%.
Bless him. I hope he does well at Frankfurt. I really, really do. I really do. I mean, let's move on to players to watch. Faz, who was your first player to watch?
Anthony was one of them, but he's not playing. And Rashford was one of them, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, I went with the wingers because, funny start, Aston Villa have the best offside trap in the league. I think they've caught Premier League teams offside 74 times, and the average is 29, if I'm not mistaken. And what you can expect is they're going to play an extreme high line, and in high line system, who will flourish? It's Marcus Rashford running in behind, covering that half space, running in that half space, like he likes to do, cut in and have a shot on goal. Same thing with Anthony. That's why I went with both wingers. But I'm excited to see how he does today if he plays on the right hand side and if he can manage to find Rasmus Højlund with the cross. We've seen him do this pattern before against Galatasaray, if I'm not mistaken, where he got that assist and goal. So we know they can do it. Obviously, we've seen the clip that's been going around online, which is Rashford finding Højlund numerous times. He's the only winger that's been able to find Højlund as well numerous times. So today, seeing him on the right-hand side will give us another example. So I'm looking forward to seeing that from Rashford.
I think it's gone a bit... Obviously, you're just clutching at straws because we've barely done it. But I think the one who has passed to Højlund the most probably is Rashford.
It is,
and
yeah.
He was getting criticised for not doing it, and that shows how little
and he would have had an assist, and Rasmus would have had a goal if that, what game was it, where they said the Brighton ball went out of play, and it was absolutely silly. But yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Good said it's like Christmas in my house all over again. Oh, we love it. We love it. I mean, my players to watch, one of them was Højlund, because I think he needs a Prem goal. You don't want to go into the new year without him. I think Forest at the City Ground is going to be tough with they've got the new manager bounce. They played really well today. I would love to see him score, obviously. It's just whether he gets a service and whether he can put him away. Hopefully we see that. Villa are a really tough side to do it against. Like you said, the offside trap's tough. But if he can beat that, you've got Rashford who can hopefully cross it to him with a right foot, and you've got Højlund who can keep up with his pace as well.
Sure.
You've got a very pacey front three.
Yeah.
So hopefully that can happen. And my other player to watch was... Oh, no, it wasn't Højlund. My player to watch wasn't Højlund. It was Garnacho. It was Garnacho and Mainu. I'll change it to Højlund. And then my other player to watch was Kobe Mainu, just because I thought it was harsh, the fact he made that mistake against West Ham. Hopefully, I didn't see too many people criticising him for it. He's only a young lad coming into the team. He's come into a tough run of games, some tough fixtures, another tough one today, Aston Villa at home. Hopefully him and Eriksen can keep that structure in the midfield and we can see what he does. The good thing is about that midfield with Eriksen and Mainu is the two players that can actually keep the ball and pass the ball and find a red shirt.
Sure.
And that's what you need. So many times in that team, it looks like the players treat the ball as if it's like a hot potato. Whereas Eriksen and Mainu, they actually are comfortable on the ball. They're comfortable receiving the ball from the likes of Onana, and they're comfortable at looking up and finding a pass, which sounds like the bare minimum, but at United, we don't see it that often. So, yeah, I'd hopefully it isn't too weak in there. Not much physicality really looking at it, but hopefully we can be good on the ball in the midfield.
Yeah. I'm just a bit, on the back foot with physicality aspect of things, because I know Eriksen is not the most physical player. So I wonder who's going to be picking up the yellow cards today, because it ain't going to be Eriksen. And if Bruno Fernandes is his typical self, where he's running around all over the pitch, it's going to be a long night for Christian. Yeah,
I mean, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. Ricky, is there any player you necessarily want to watch out for?
You've just spoke at length about him. I'm looking forward to watching Mainu and Eriksen play together. I do think we can look after the ball better, certainly in midfield. When they look up, they need somebody to hit. It'd be Andy if Anthony Martial was playing. They need somebody to hit.
Start again.
They need somebody to hit with the ball, which won't be easy. But I'll look forward to see how they're doing.
Yeah, that's one thing Højlund needs to improve, which I think Martial does have the upper hand on with him, is the link up and hold up play, for sure. That does need to improve, but again, he's only 20. It's funny, I was watching Bournemouth the other night with my brother, and I really liked Solanke. I think he's great. I think he runs the channels really well. It's a shame he's ex-Liverpool, but runs the channels really well. His hold-up's great, his finishing's so good. And I just said, just for, how old is Solanke? Because I thought he was still young. I thought he was still pretty young. I mean, we looked up, he's 26. Right. I remember when he was at Liverpool, and he was pretty poor, really, and that's why I ended up going to Bournemouth. And that's when he was young, and now he's 26, he's gone away, he's learnt his trade, and he's, for me, a very good Premier League striker. So you think in them years of seeing Solanke develop, how much he's developed, and I thought to myself, Højlund's only just 20. He's got years of development to get to that point, and of course you've got the likes of the Erling Haalands, who's just, amazing at the age he is. And obviously he's doing it in a great team as well, which helps a lot to have a great team around you.
We haven't got time to wait.
But that's the problem.
We haven't got time to
That's
wait.
the problem,
We've
Ricky.
got to start scoring
We
goals.
don't have time to wait, and that's why we should have bought a more experienced striker as well. And that's the issue that
If we'd have bought a better, more experienced striker, I wouldn't be spending 60 million on Højlund. I really wouldn't.
He was never 60 million, was he, really, though? It was a £30 million signing, really. But we overspent
If
again.
that.
But we overspent again.
And don't forget, obviously, today we're facing Ollie Watkins, who's having a fantastic season.
And this,
Let's not
again shows about player development, coulda, woulda, shoulda, because I remember looking at Ollie Watkins, and I like him. I think he's a good guy. I think, his attitude, he always speaks really well in interviews. He seems like a top
He's a
top
good guy.
He seems like a top guy from
I
what...
thought you were going to say he's a good-looking guy.
I wasn't going to say that. You might think that, Faz.
Yeah, he is a good-looking guy.
But I used to watch him, I thought, he's a good striker, but I never thought he was a great striker, and I never thought he could be. Like, I thought, he missed too many chances, but he was good. Under Emery, he's just absolutely killed it.
Yeah.
And he's doing so well. And it just shows what a good coaching and player partnership can do.
Do you know Unai Emery has been showing him clips of Cavani? Do you know
Not
that?
surprised.
Yeah, I saw this thing where apparently he sat down with Ollie Watkins and has been showing, a perfect striker's profile, and he's been using Cavani as an example.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Have we read their lineup out yet?
I forgot it. I'll go and get it now. I can probably be able to tell it you.
I've got it up here for you.
Okay, read it out first.
So we've got Martinez in net. We've got Lucas Dingy in fullback, Longley. You've got Diego Carlos, Konza. You've got Ramsey, Douglas Luiz, McGinn, Leon Bailey, and you've got Dendoncker and Ollie Watkins up front.
Diaby on the bench?
Yep, they've got Diaby on the bench, and obviously Moreno, Proctor, Torres, Zaniolo, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Callum Chambers, and Jean Duran.
Pau Torres on the bench, he's been injured, hasn't he?
Pau Torres?
Yeah, he's on the bench.
He's been injured, but I thought he might have come straight back in if he was fit enough, to be honest with you, but maybe not. I mean, it's a strong team, as it always is. You've got Zaniolo on the bench, you've got Diaby. Yeah, it's a strong team. They're playing very well. Joe, who I think he's really good. He's doing really well right now. John McGinn.
Great player.
He's right up your street, isn't he?
Great player, John McGinn, yeah. Great player.
He's someone. I always see people saying it's someone Fergie would have signed. I always see people saying that.
Top player.
Their midfield's good. What are your thoughts on that lineup, Faz?
Yeah, some strong players. Douglas Luiz is the player that kind of makes them he dictates their attacks. So one of the players that we need to be watching out for today. And obviously Ollie Watkins is having a fantastic season. I think he's got, 9 goals and 8 assists in the league, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. So he's clearly, very much in form. I just wonder how we're going to do when they're trying to force us for, in our own half and they're playing higher up on the pitch. Ramsey and Leon Bailey. Look, Leon
Bailey's been killing it.
Leon Bailey, did he score against Lindelof? Was it last season?
I know he scored against City to win the game.
So I think, Leon Bailey loves to score against us, and he's again another player that's in form as well. So some sharp players who are in form. We have a long day. Dallo's going to have a long day today trying to mark Leon Bailey, so he's got his hands full.
Got some super chats in. Patrick says, checked all of our best games from last year. Liverpool home, Chelsea home, Barcelona away and home, and so on. Sancho was a starter and played well.
I wonder why you like John McGinn.
It's just so steady.
And also you like Scott McTominay.
Steady as well.
Funny they both come from Scotland.
I'm on board that McGinn is good. Very good. LJ says, I won't make clear decisions on these strikers until they start getting some service and see what striker takes his chances. Brandon Samuel Short says Bruno is disruptive to attacking systems because he makes poor decisions and can't play between the lines. Watch the 90 minutes and you will see. Fred Flintstone at member for 36 months. Do you really defend Martial, who helped sack 5 managers? I think that's harsh. He didn't individually sack 5 managers, did he? He's just been here for a long time, which is, I think, why people's patience maybe is a little bit thin.
But you know full well that he has issues with being a backup striker.
That's what I was trying to explain.
Yeah, but that's factually true. He's had issues with Mourinho when Zlatan came in. It's out there. Everybody knows this. He spoke about it publicly, Martial himself, to French media. So it's not like I'm making this up. So yeah, I can understand. But on Ricky's side, he'll say he's not getting enough opportunities when the current forward player is not doing. Or maybe when Rashford's not playing well, why doesn't he use? When Rashford's not playing well, why doesn't he use Martial on the left instead of Garnacho?
Clearly, he doesn't like him on the left because he'll never play him there.
No, but I'm sorry, but I'm not accepting that at all.
I've heard
because
him say that he knows he can play on the left.
But the manager
it doesn't
said
look like he does know to me.
No, but the manager said publicly. He answered your question.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. You asked him that question.
I know, because I wanted to see Haaland and Martial play together really bad, but he never did it.
And he said he can play on the left, and yet he never decides to do it.
He
never
must
decides
not
to put them
fancy him
on.
there,
Yeah.
which I don't get why, to be honest. Because I've always said I'd like to see Haaland and Martial play together, but Martial's time is
Sure.
It's not. It's no point talking about it because he's not going to be here.
Sure.
I wish it worked out differently, but sadly it hasn't, and that's what I was trying to say before. For him, like Ricky can say all he wants, well, he's not getting enough minutes. For him, he wants to be a starter, and that's the issue because he's not going to be. But that's where we're at. And there are the super chats up till now. Ben Ellis says, Ricky, don't start on McTominay, please. Yeah, I mean, get your guys' opinions in the chat. We are going to be wrapping up in a second. But, I mean, I know a lot of people aren't that positive. But let's start with the score predictions. Ricky said to me before he doesn't like doing them, but he does them just for me because I ask him. So, Ricky, score prediction.
No. That's a very easy way to get out of it, Ricky. I don't like doing score predictions. No, you have to make it.
Look, if I could do score predictions, I'd be going in the bookies, and I don't go in the bookies. But I go 1-1.
What?
1-1.
What?
1-1.
1-1. Just, I don't know why I couldn't hear what you were saying then. 1-1. That's positive, to be fair, for you.
Yeah, I go 1-1.
What are you going with, Faz?
2-1 Aston Villa.
Yeah.
I went 2-0 in the group chat.
I don't know why I think we're going to score the goal, by the way, but I'll go 1-1.
Did you see my prediction in the group chat?
3-0 Villa.
Oh, don't say that, Beth.
Beth never ever goes against Manchester United.
I've never predicted a loss ever, and that's what this team's drove me to.
You did against Liverpool last week.
No. This is what your manager.
No, in the
drove
group
me
chat
to.
I said.
right.
In the group chat. Oh no, I might have done actually. I never predicted a loss until Liverpool last week.
And now it's 2 out of 3.
And now it's 2 out of 3 because this is what this team's drove me to. Because it's like I just don't see anything. It's like I remember, and I don't want to start a sob story, but you know, so many times on Boxing Day or just after Christmas, you're so excited to go to Old Trafford and watch the game. And today I just was like, I feel like I know what's coming already, and it's sad. It's sad, and that's the issue I have. I don't have any hope really. It's like when we're playing against Bayern Munich, when it used to get to the 90th minute, I used to think, oh, maybe something will happen. The other day, I knew for a fact nothing was going to happen.
Well, a stat for you all. Manchester United are unbeaten in their last 19 Boxing Day games at Old Trafford. A run dating back to 1978. And when were you born, Ricky?
58.
I sometimes forget how many generations. Have you seen World War II?
No.
Ten Hag said, we went toe-to-toe with Arsenal and Liverpool. When we play our best, we can beat any opponent in this league. Toe-to-toe.
Yeah, but beating...
Toe-to-toe.
Yeah, just...
Come on.
Beating an opposition doesn't mean winning a title, you know. You need to beat everyone. You need to go toe-to-toe with everyone.
If we bang up for it, we can win, but it's going to be a right tough ask.
I feel like this team's probably the best team we have available to put out. When you look at the bench. I know you'll want McTominay in it, but...
No, I'll probably put
and
Pellistri on
if you look at our bench...
I'll put Pellistri on the right and McTominay in Bruno's place. And I think it'll be a lot stronger.
Liverpool have gone top of the Premier League, sadly.
What score was that game?
2-0. Finished 2-0. Oh, God.
And we're currently sat 8th with 28 points with a goal difference of...
Ricky, tell you stat about
-5.
Bournemouth.
Oh, I mentioned that when I got here, didn't I? But even Bournemouth have just strung together a run of 7 games undefeated. I can't remember exactly where they were when they started. They'd have been in the bottom 3, bottom 4 at best, or at worst, however you want to put it. but they've gone 7 games undefeated. They've won 6 and drawn 1. They've took 19 points from 7 games, and they've not scored less than 2 goals in any of them games. I'd love to know when we last took, I don't know if anybody could work this out, but I'd love to know when we last took 19 points from 7 games and scored at least 2 goals in 7 games on the bounce. You know, it's phenomenal.
That's some homework
form.
for me.
It's phenomenal form, it really is. That includes a 3-0 win here, by the way. But it also throws into light that people thought that we're going to win that game easily, and nobody's beating Bournemouth easily at the minute. One of those, the one draw, by the way, was against Villa.
God.
And Villa got a late equaliser. It could so easily have been 7 wins on the bounce. And it has also moved them to within 3 points of us. So if Bournemouth, if we lose tonight, we're only 3 points in front of Bournemouth, who were in the relegation zone 7 games ago, or virtually.
I mean, it's crazy stuff, really. It's crazy stuff. I mean, what would a win today mean, Faz?
It would mean we have 31 points.
I know, but obviously Villa are doing so well. Could it be a start of turning the corner?
Oh, give over.
I'm just asking the playing devil's advocate. Playing devil's
absolutely not. It's not going to be. Oh, Mark, he's been a prat again, hasn't he?
What?
He's messed up our graphics.
Oh, he does it every time.
He's a right prat, he is. No, it doesn't turn things over. It doesn't for me. It's game week 19 now, and for me, the season's an absolute write-off. We've got, if I'm not mistaken, it was 9 games left, right? Yeah, 9
Say
games.
that again?
9 games left in the Premier League.
9?
9, yeah.
No,
No,
we're
it's
halfway
not.
through, 19.
19, sorry. I'm thinking
thought
29.
today
Yeah.
we played
Got my maths
19,
totally wrong.
it'll be 19
19
left,
games left. I don't think we're going to be able to come top 4 with the form that we're in. I don't at all. Winning today doesn't justify or forgive all the mistakes that he's made this season already and the position that we're in. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to change anything.
We've got a super chat from Tom saying, great content today, still waiting on your text, Beth. Ricky has my number. Is that guy from the Manchester Night Out with a live show?
Can't remember.
You text me saying someone give the number. We'll talk
You
about
have to
this off
remind
air.
me later.
We'll talk about this off air. Angnit Singh, Beth, this is
Oh
Bruno.
yes, I've got it now. I remember. Yeah, he's in Albert Schloss after the game.
I remember.
After the show.
Hi, Tom. Angnit says...
Not that we're in Albert Schloss every weekend. Don't come there and start looking for... Hold on a minute, people. Now,
You're in there.
stop spreading malicious rumours, Ricky.
Ankit Singh says, Beth, this is Bruno's Champions League final. What has he won? And he's captain Varane. It's a shock. Ericsson has won the same as Bruno. Ben Ellie says, Ben Ellis, thank you for your super chat. We've read that one out. And thank you everybody for getting all your comments in, getting all your score predictions in. And yeah, everyone, let's hope and pray together we can get a result. But I mean, I'm not so confident. I don't think anyone here is. But Ricky's going with a draw. I mean, I take that even though we shouldn't, but that's where we're at right now. Mark is now live. What should they spam with?
There is only one thing you can spam Mark's live with, and that is good evening. That is all you can do. Good evening.
I
Yeah,
love that one.
there you go. Good evening.
Right, we'll see you on the forum. It is me, Faz, Ricky and Maud, so we'll see you there. And yeah, enjoy the Boxing Day football, everyone, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.